Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session of the International Conference on Women in Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Mathematics with the subtitle of Resilience, Sustainability, and Governance. In this session, we'll be hearing Bianca Zepa talking. She'll be speaking in English. Bianca, it's all yours.
Hello. So I want to start by congratulating Carlos Gonçalves for this amazing initiative and, of course, for inviting me to be a part of this conference, along with the amazing speakers that passed through this online stage over the last few days and on the previous sessions. And I would also like to share that beside the fact of being the biggest supporter of the Portuguese language through the globe, I am choosing to communicate with you in English to allow everybody on the other side of the screen all over the globe to easily access and understand the content of this sharing of ideas in the future. So a little introduction about me. I have a degree in international relations and a post-graduation in governance and strategic intelligence by the same institution, ISCSP, and I am combining at the moment an executive master in applied management with a specialization in strategic marketing by Católica Lisbon School of Business and Economic, in parallel with my professional activity in the area of IT consulting in one of the major competitors in consulting and technology in the world. Furthermore, and because I always had a great desire to make a difference, I have kept myself active through the course of almost 10 years in activities and causes of a social and political character. So today I will be focusing on technological and digital innovation, one that I consider it to be a very hot topic nowadays because technological and digital innovation has and will continue to have the power to transform the different sectors of industries and of businesses throughout the globe. It has been a shift in our ways of operating that was accelerated by the pandemic when we were faced with the urgency of being digital. And according to some research and some data from the Italian bank Mediobanca, the impact has been more noticeable for the internet and technology companies and for the retail industry. There have been some sectors facing a bigger challenge to adapt to the new imposed reality, such as companies in the energy, transportation, and fashion industry. The pharmaceutical industry, however, has been one of the only that managed to keep up with the drastic changes in the markets, regardless of the losses that they registered. So what we are living is in fact a new world, a more digital one, where we either manage to keep up with the changes imposed by external factors, or we can assume the defeat. With all these changes, I would say that we must be able to recognize there are a lot of opportunities out there, opportunities to do more and opportunities to do better. And it is also a great time to challenge the status quo and disrupt the so-called traditional way of working. One way we can measure this disruption is in how home office became the new office hours. This has allowed us to reinvent ourselves and our houses, developing new working stations, but at the same time, we started realizing how interactions impact our daily lives and how we, as professionals, are perceived by our peers through a screen rather than in a direct dialogue. This new situation managed to prove that all of us can be as productive, as creative, and as proactive at home as we are at the office. It also allowed companies to realize that the work has been delivered and has been properly delivered by the teams. And with this, we can strongly agree that both men and women have been up to the challenge that we are all facing. With the imposed distance on the way of working and managing people, I consider that companies' higher hierarchies are being pushed to rethink their business and marketing strategies, of course, but also their governance practices to answer to this new reality, rowing towards a more inclusive and diverse workplace. With this in mind, I would say that we cannot overlook the relevance of women in business. In Portugal, as in the rest of Europe, the presence of women in C-levels of large companies has evolved positively, but very, very slowly, so at a very slow pace. Despite the increase in female representation due to the entry into force of the quota law, the improvements have been more evident in non-executive positions where there is less decision-making power. And there's a project here in Portugal called the Project Women on Boards that has been following a research on the process of implementation of this law, which was published on the January 1st, 2018, and established the regime of balanced representation between women and men in the management supervisory bodies of the public corporate sector entities and companies listed on the stock exchange in Euronext Lisbon. So in December 2018, we had 26.6% of directors. Since 2018, the growth in female representativity has increased, but the entry of women to these bodies has been mainly for positions with non-executive functions. So from 33.8% women in 2020, in executive functions, there are only 15.7% of women. The rest are all men. The 38 companies listed on the Lisbon Stock Exchange have 451 members of corporate bodies, of whom 120 are women. Only 2 women occupy the chair of the management body, 6 of the supervisory body, and 2 of the executive boards. So I would say that the new models of governance that should have this in consideration, these numbers into account. And why? Because women are known and characterized by their inherent ability in multitasking. Women have always had many and various roles throughout their personal lives, and this can be an added value to a company or organization, since women have a broader and more generalized vision of how a company works, and above all, how a company or organization should work, without neglecting the fact, of course, that in terms of academic training, women do not fall short of their ability in comparing to men. I believe, though, that we have to start by shifting the education and culture and the way girls and women are socialized. Motivation is key here. We have good examples of successful women to look up to and reflect upon, like, for example, Julie Sweet, that is the CEO of Accenture, who has an uncompromising vision of business development and once said in a public interview that she was so good they had no other choice than to give her the responsibilities that she has at the moment. Conceição Isabel, the director of marketing, communication and citizenship at IBM Portugal, that said on her first interview for her internship at IBM that she aspires to take the place at her interviewer at the time, the former director of marketing and communication at IBM. And so she did. Valérie Poinceau, the managing director of the Boiron Laboratories, she's the resident of the International Women's Forum to support women leaders. And in her book, Wonder Woman, Say Yes to Your Powers, she encourages women to make a career, to manage without giving up their family, and to believe in their ambitions. Jacinda Ardern, another great example, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, a true leader by the way she effectively managed the COVID-19 pandemic and crisis. And Reshma Saujani, a lawyer, a politician, and the founder of a non-profit organization, Girls Who Code. And let's stop here. Reshma Saujani is a lawyer, a politician, and she founded a non-profit organization called Girls Who Code. This is an organization that has nothing to do with her occupation because she doesn't even know how to code. But the important thing here is the risk and the bravery that she had to found this organization. Girls Who Code was born with the mission of closing the gender gap in technology and to change the image of what a programmer looks like. She has a very inspiring TED Talk where she explains the toxic culture and education that boys and girls are taught and grow up in. She says that we're raising our girls to be perfect and we're raising our boys to be brave. Saljani has taken up the charge to socialize young girls to take risks and learn to program. Two skills that are much needed to move society forward, and I would say that now more than ever. To truly innovate, we cannot leave behind half of our population. I need each of you to tell every young woman you know to be comfortable with imperfection, she says. Otherwise, we are missing out the contribution of young girls and women in terms of innovation and progress. And this is a very dramatic reality. So Girls Who Code was founded in 2012, where they taught 20 girls how to code. 4 years later, in 2015, the organization taught 7,500 girls how to code. 1 year later, in 2016, they taught 40,000 girls in all 50 states how to code. So from 2015 to 2016, they grew 433%. The problem is so bad that the organization had the ability to grow 433% in 1 year. The organization continued to grow, and to date, the organization has already reached 450,000 girls and women. This is important because this way we are allowed to reflect on the power of creating opportunities for young girls and women. Since the focus is about how much of a difference us women make in the world of science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics, it's fair to say, what a time to be alive. We live in a world full of opportunities, and even if we don't see them, or if sometimes those opportunities seem out of reach for us, we can create them. We've seen so many women doing this throughout the time, besides the adversities, and towards a path of entrepreneurship, meritocracy, work, dedication, sacrifices, and progress. So it's up to us to continue breaking the tradition and keep rowing in this direction, always keeping in mind that maybe if our path is not clear for us, sometimes the best to do is to take the next right step, and so on and so on. And we'll eventually get there. So yes, there is a growing need for diversity in technology and business. There is a need to focus on gender gap reduction in business, and there is a need to invest in better governance through diversity and inclusion. Thank you. I honestly hope you enjoyed this sharing of ideas. I would like to finish by thanking once again Carlos Gonçalves and Inês Garcia for the outstanding organization of this conference. Thank you for having me. And for those who watch this in the future, please feel free to get in touch with me through LinkedIn. Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thank you, Bianca. I think there is some feedback there. Yeah, there's some feedback there. I'm hearing my voice repeated in demon-like style. Demon-like possession. You must have. Oh, okay. There was this poltergeist-like feedback from my voice. Thank you very much, Bianca. I think if I ever think about or if anyone out there thinks about creating a movement for women in business and in tech, they should invite Bianca to be their spokeswoman.
Thank you.
She presents a compelling case. Okay, Bianca, about your own experience in business, since you're a woman in business, and what can you say a few words about that? About your own experience?
Yes, of course. So my background, it wasn't very digital, but I was lucky enough to get in a company like Accenture that gave me the possibility to add value to the company according to the skills that I have. So I have a role that is more focused in management, and I am lucky, we are lucky, Accenture is lucky actually, because our global CEO is a woman, we have a lot of women in management. So I would say that I am very lucky to work in a company that really appreciates the role of women in technology and in digital innovation. And I think that Accenture is really rowing on the right path to help close this gender gap that exists in this world of technology. Because as we know, like 10 years ago, the women that we have working in technology and on the digital industries, the numbers were very, very different. But I also consider that the difference has to do with the growing need for digital and technological solutions. And I would say that's an opportunity for everybody out there, for the companies, and also for us women, of course.
Tell us about your role at Accenture, about what you do there, just a little bit for the audience.
Okay, so at the moment I'm having my role is concerning management. I'm helping to co-manage a team in different projects that are in technology, and I have a team management role and consulting, of course. And at the moment I'm at my second project. I worked almost 2 years in a project. Now I'm on a different one, and the best thing is well, I am learning with international clients and with national clients, and this company really has added value in terms of my professional growth, but also in terms of my personal growth. And they really do invest in their teams and in the people that work there.
Thank you. Yeah, you're in marketing, yes, mainly in marketing. That's your area.
At the moment, I am not working in direct marketing. I am doing an executive master that is in applied management, but has a specialization in strategic marketing. And I did that because I felt the need to develop my skills in terms of management, since I only work in management. And I felt the need to develop my skills in management, my sensibility around numbers, and my sensibility about the market trends, because I think that it's really important for us women and men, of course, like Julie Sweet said, be so good that they have no other choice but to give it to you. So my goal is it's of course studying marketing, is to be better at my job at the moment and be more sensitive to the market shifts and how can I help the company create the higher value to our clients.
Thank you very much, Bianca. A good example of a woman in management, in leadership positions, with a brilliant career ahead. So if anyone wants to create a movement, talk to Bianca around women in business and in tech, talk to Bianca. She'd do a good spokesperson. Okay, thank you very much, Bianca. The video will be placed online. By the way, Bianca's nationality, you can't tell exactly, but she's Romanian.
It's true, yeah. Thank you very much, Carlos.
Where in Romania are you? Just
I've come to Portugal in 2002.
2002. You have a perfect accent, Portuguese accent. She has.
Thank you very much.
Accent. You were from where in Romania? From which?
Hunedoara.
Okay.
Not many people know it, but it's near Timișoara that it's more well known. Near, and when I say near, it's like 2 hours by car.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bianca.
Thank you, Carlos. And thank you all.
Great participation from a woman in business, in tech. So it was great having you here. I'll be sharing the video even today online, and then I'll send it to you in a few moments. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.